So I was brought this Roomba. I don't even remember what model it is. 692 is the model. And I was asked to diagnose why it wasn't turning on, wasn't working. It's like, okay. Apparently they had bought it from an auction, a local auction, not an online one. And so I got this unit, put it on its charger, and it started blinking this light. Pressing the on button doesn't do anything. Trying to reset the device doesn't do anything, just goes back to flashing. But looking closely, you can see that this is cracked right here. This is actually dented in up here. So I ended up pulling off this whole top cover, and sure enough, right underneath this is the main control board or logic board that is basically the brain of this entire robot vacuum. What probably happened was whoever had it before dropped it, or dropped something onto it, and this flexed just enough to where it contacted the control board and damaged it. Probably jostled something, or just that sudden physical shock to it probably knocked it out of whack. Did all the diagnosing I could, and I determined that that was the issue. The battery checked to be good. There's no issues there. They had said that they had swapped another battery in from another Roomba that they had, which was the same device, but in their upstairs. This would have been their downstairs one. They swapped that battery into this one and got the same result. So it wasn't the battery. Given that, I started looking around on eBay and found this one. Now this one, I bought solely as a parts unit. It's the exact same model. The final price was $46. And the only thing I've done with this one is it started flashing just like this one did when I put it onto the charger. So I did this, reset it. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to show with these lights. It's supposed to do this. Let's see if it even backs up.
Error 6. Move Roomba to a new location. Then press clean to restart. Please open the iRobot Home app for help.
So what we're going to do with this is let it charge all the way. The description said that this had some sort of issue with it where it was inoperative. The seller that I bought it from specializes in selling store returns. So it could be nothing, it could be something, but the idea is if this is a battery issue or if there's some other issue, hopefully I can pull the good parts out of this one and put it into this one, or vice versa. Either way, I think between the pair, we should be able to get one good working robot and have the other one for parts. So I'm going to let this charge some more, and then I'm going to open up my iRobot app and see if I can even interface with this one and see what that error is that it just popped up with. All right, so battery charging aside, I'm not sure if the battery in this is bad or not, but it is giving us that error 6, which upon further research has something to do with the cliff sensors probably being dirty or defective. So the cliff sensors are these little things right here. They don't look all that dirty. Maybe they are, I don't know. From what I was reading, error 6 has to do with cleaning these sensors out. So in order to gain access to these, we have to pull off this little strip here, and there are a bunch of screws that you're going to have to take off with it. All right, so all these screws have now been removed. I don't think we need to remove the top cover, but let's just see. So pull the top cover off, no big deal. Pull that off. I'm just going to pull the battery out just to make sure nothing turns on accidentally. So this just kind of pulls off just like that. So now we have better access to these sensors. So just to rule out any sort of battery issue, I just swapped the battery from that one into this one. So I inspected the sensors. They're clean. I don't really see any reason to go any further with that, but if I need to, I will. All right, so it's a few days later, and I've kind of figured out what's going on here. So this battery's charged, everything's good, but
Error 6.
so we still have the same problem with this. So on the other one, I'm assuming the sensors are fine. So what I'm gonna do is swap the battery from this one back into this one. I'm gonna swap the logic board or the motherboard from this one into that one. And then swap this as well, because this one's all broken and cracked and messed up. So no real reason to not swap this. The first thing we're gonna do is pull the battery out of this one, just like we've been doing. Fully charged battery. We have to pull off this strip again. So that's really not that big of a deal. All right, so that's off. This is off as well. And just to kind of get this out of the way, I'm going to remove these two screws and take this sensor out. All right. But just because I don't want to lose anything, put it back together. Just a few threads, no big deal. So pull the dirt bin out. And then you can find these at Harbor Freight, nylon pry tools. And just for the record, so you can see on the old one we have these clips here. So this one's gonna be about right here. And that one is already broken. Interesting. So we have another one up here. Then you have the several that are up in the front area. So very carefully. I do not want to break these. Simple as that. Of course, like I said, this one was already broken. Now what we're gonna do is take off the top cover. For now, I am just gonna leave the wheels in. I'm not worried about that. I'm just gonna have to work around them. So I'm going to pull this top piece off. Button assembly's off. So now we have access to the main board and all the individual components. And that's done. So now we're just going to remove this one, and you have these rubber grommets that are sitting on top of the plastic. Just carefully pull these off. Just undo both of these connectors. It looks like that's it. However, this sensor is probably going to end up coming 5 screws. And we've got a bunch of wiring that needs to come out too. There we go. There's the motherboard. Let's get ready to install it. A little bit of an Easter egg here. Dog and a cat that are dressed up. All right, so now just connecting. All right, so everything's connected. We're just gonna flop this back down. Not gonna worry about that for now. Five screws. So these, because you're going to be putting them back into plastic threads, the body of this machine, you want to go nice and slow. So if you want to use a manual screwdriver, or if you have a small drill like I do and you got a good feel for it, just be careful. But I only turn them until they stop. I don't go past any further than that on stuff like this. It's not hard to over torque these and strip those threads out. So that's been replaced. We'll reroute this wiring. Grab the top cover. Let's get that ready. Old motherboard, put the plastic back on. So now this, as you can see here, there's this little notch here for the sensor wires to go through. So I'm gonna very carefully kind of line this back up and then get these wires into that notch just so they don't get pinched. Verified they are good. So kind of the same thing with these top screws that go back into here. You want to be really careful when you reinstall them, as they are going into plastic. And you have, I believe there was two screws which were different sizes. This is the small one. Just want to be wary of that. I do know where this one does go, and that's right there. So same thing, just using a normal screwdriver to put that back in. And I'll be doing the same thing with all the other ones. I'll put the buttons back in. There we go. Same thing, nice and easy. Just making sure that's all lined up. And it'll be very obvious when it is. You'll see both of these legs here flat up against it, just like that. And same thing, go back in with these pretty gently. We have our fully charged battery. Throw that back in. And both of these bottom covers are in about the same condition, so I'm just going to throw this one back on. Satisfied with that. Just for the sake of it, we'll put the spinning brush back on. So I am going to pop this wheel off though. Got plenty of hair stuck on there, it looks like. These are pretty easy to clean off. Perfect. So, just need to put the top cover back on, but I'm not going to mess with this yet. It does not have to go back on. That's just the full battery light. I want to get this thing on the floor and verify that it actually turns on and does everything that it should. Plenty of stuff on the ground here for it to pick up. Let's try her out. They are supposed to spin in a circle like that. That's normal behavior. Bumper's working correctly. Put my foot out here because I want it to stay on the carpet. I'm satisfied with that. With that being all good, put the top cover back on. I'm just being very careful not to break these covers, these clips rather, because they're not hard to break. So that's that. This thing's all done. I'll get it back to the house and give it a try. Definitely picked up all that stuff that was on the floor. So again, more than happy with that. For what was effectively something that I got for free, and then paid $45 or $40 or whatever it was to get the parts unit, this turned out pretty good in my opinion. So here we are upstairs. I just connected it to the iRobot app that they have. There's the charger. So go ahead and turn it on. See how it handles carpet. Not bad. It's about as noisy as any of their other base models. And compared to another model that I had, which I've done videos on, it's about the same. Seems to groom the carpet okay. So, looks like it's going to work perfectly fine for me. I've got that extra battery just in case this one is won't hold a charge long enough, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Somebody over there, not a huge fan of the robot vacuums. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more. It's not bad getting one of these for free and then fixing it for, you know, $50 and eBay parts.